We've had a lot of choreographed parades and songs about unity and reconciliation and peace. And it needs underlining that peace is not just an absence of war or bullets. Peace is not an absence of noise. Peace is when we have social justice, when we have the overwhelming majority of Kenyans protected against extrajudicial killings, against police brutality, against detention without trial, against maiming by goons and police, when they can access the judicial process and be able to get a fair hearing before a competent judge who is neutral, who is fair, who does not have any kind of favoritism one way or the other, and who is not compromised by the system, by those with money. In a way, they are looking for impartiality from the judiciary, and if they are able to get that, if they are able to get enough food, they are able to get housing, they are able to live in a free and clean environment, they are able to access the social amenities that everybody needs to be able to be productive and to prosper. If they live in a society where hard work, where productivity, innovation and creativity and effort is what make you prosperous, rather than familial or tribal connections, then you could talk about peace. Peace is not just a state of physical ability. It's a state of both physical security, emotional contentment, and intellectual freedom. Every single society experiences peace in a more equal environment, not in an environment where 1% of the population controls 99% of all productive arable land, and where less than 10% or 5% of the people control over 80% of the GDP. Peace cannot be obtained when thieves are the ones that control the levers of power. They're the ones who get elected to parliament. They're the ones who get appointed to be ministers. That is cabinet ministers. They're the ones who get appointed to be heads of state corporations, regardless of their age. Like you saw recently, Francis Mudhaura, who is in his 80s, got appointed to head the treasury when 75% of the youth are unemployed. That's not peace. Reconciliation is not a question of elites meeting in big five-star hotels and hugging and kissing and holding hands and saying they have forgiven each other. Reconciliation is when the 500 innocent victims of the post-election violence have justice, have accountability, when the people who murdered them are punished to the full extent of the law. Reconciliation will come when it would not matter what ethnic community you come from. You have equal opportunity to be elected into positions of power and privilege. When a president of the Republic of Kenya is not predetermined by a few elites, when elections are actually free, fair, and credible, when the Electoral Commission is not compromised by those with power or with money, when the server to the Electoral Commission is opened and audited, and we are able to know objectively who actually won the 2017 election, not the institutionalization of electoral theft the way that it is happening today. That is not reconciliation. Reconciliation is not hugging, is not kissing, is not having handshakes or handchecks. Reconciliation and cohesion is when ethnicity does not matter, when we think of access to jobs, access to natural resources, access to land, access to opportunities, access to the productive sectors of our economy. It would be reconciliation when the President of the Republic of Kenya can be an El Molo, can be a Kisi, can be a Somali, can be a Luo, can be a Luya, can be a Kamba, can be a Taita or a Turkana, and nobody cares because they are elected on the basis of their integrity, competence, ability, vision, and their manifesto that would transform the lives of Kenyans. If these were the agenda of the current so-called handshake, then we will say, yes, that makes sense. But we recall in 2007, 2008, after Mwai Kibaki stole the elections, we had a constitutional change. We entrenched the National Accord and Reconciliation Act into the Constitution. We formed the coalition government, the Grand Coalition Government. Raila Odinga became the Prime Minister and Mwai Kibaki became the President. And they nominated members of the cabinet on both sides. Raila Odinga then became the coordinator of the execution of all government functions, including ministries. Yet, tribalism continued, ethnic rivalries became worse, and we had a repeat of the deaths, the mayhem that had followed the 2007 elections in 2017. So now we are not even entrenching the so-called handshake in the Constitution. It's not passed in Parliament as a statute. We don't have a coalition government. And somebody's telling us that magically this PR exercise will morph into a powerful instrument to fight impunity and to fight corruption and all manner of things. And as they are doing that, 13 court orders that I obtained in my favor from the High Court remain disobeyed, disregarded. The contempt of court continues by the executive. The people, Fred Matiang'i, the head of the police, Boynet, Kinoti, the director of CID, and also the director of immigration, were convicted by Justice Odunga, yet they remain in office. So this is the situation that we have. This situation does not engender confidence and cannot lead to true reconciliation and peace. It will lead to conflagration of an intense violence, instability, which would culminate into an full-blown revolution, which is really what Kenyans actually, in the end, will probably be happy to experience. Because without a searing revolutionary change in the country, Kenya will just remain a private estate that the elites use and mismanage for their own personal ends. We must say no to this. We must organize village to village, estate to estate, workplace to workplace, factory to factory, university to university, until we uproot them with all their tentacles. Viva!